up, guys? Here's Mitch 42 here, and welcome back to an episode of Katawa Shoujo. Last time we left off, it has finally been revealed that we're doing Lilly's route for this game. In case you didn't see the last episode, make sure to see that before this, in case you guys didn't do that. But yeah, so we were playing chess here. After the festival ended, we went to school and are now playing a game of chess, watching Hanako and Lilly versus each other, with Hanako being the expert at this, surprisingly. I was expecting the reversal, to be honest, but other than that, that was a nice surprise. Also, the bell just rang, and the game also just finished, with Hanako being declared the winner. So yeah, let's just hop right back into another episode of this. That game lasted longer than I thought it did. Same, I guess we'd better get back to class. Hanako's already in the middle of packing up, so I take Lily's bag and offer it to her. To my surprise, she takes it and nods, but then places it back down on the table. Hisao, may I make a request? Sure, go ahead. Would you mind if I were to quickly feel your face? That's interesting. No, go ahead. I don't mind. The question takes me severely off guard, but once I regain my composure, it seems sensible enough. So far, Lily's had no idea what I actually look like. And this would be her only way to find out. I love the art in this game. It's so nice. Lilly raises her right hand, which I take in mind and guide to my face before letting go. The room is entirely silent as Lily's hand moves over and around my features, from my chin to my cheeks to everywhere else. I expected this to feel a lot more disquieting than it does. I suppose that's because the action is entirely a matter of practicality, being functionally no different to simply looking at someone's face. Her hand is soft, but what takes me by surprise is the length of her fingers, not to mention how sure even the slightest of her movements are. I have no doubt that her level of tactical feeling would be far beyond mine. Her hand briefly runs once through my hair before retreating. I'm sure that every inch of my face has been committed to her memory. It's only now, too, that I realize Hanako has been silently watching the entire time. Thank you for letting me do that, Hisao. And if I might add, I think you are quite handsome. I blushed a little at her remark before raising a questioning eyebrow. But if you can't see, how? Just because I can't see, that doesn't mean I don't have my own preferences. We'd better get going now. Hanako's like, I don't need to know about you guys' business, I just want to go to class. Yeah, it's a good point. I guess we'll see you later then, Lily. That's really funny. Walking through the hallways back to our classrooms, I notice that Hanako seems quieter than before, but also more comfortable. Lilly, her hand on Hanako's shoulder, seems to pick up on her assured pace as well, smiling as they walk. If I could spend the rest of my time at Yamaku like this, I don't think it'd be so bad. All that's needed for joy are small exchanges of happiness, after all. As I reach my desk and set my bag beside it, I realize something, or rather my stomach does. I was so busy with those two, I forgot to buy lunch. RIP! Oh wow, that's it? Interesting. I didn't think that was gonna end that quickly. That was definitely an interesting interaction, but it makes sense. You know, to touch my face, I guess. To kind of figure out features. Saturday, my second most favorite day of the week. This is almost entirely due to the fact that... Wait a minute, hold up. Wasn't it Sunday? And then we went to Monday, and now it's Saturday, so we skipped like 6 days. Okay, that's interesting. This is almost entirely due to the fact that it is the day with the second least amount of school, with class ending at the beginning of lunch. I open my door confidently, myself being more than confident of being able to get enjoyment out of the fine weather and shorter class length. I confidently stride down the hallway and down to the stairs to the lobby of the male dorms. I confidently look behind me to see whose footsteps are approaching. I lose my confidence in this day being enjoyable. It's your boy! Hey, what's up? Not much, I guess. Just looking forward to the afternoon. You? Oh, God. He wraps an arm around my slumped shoulders far too comfortably. Something's up. Let's step outside, shall we? I was just about to before you stopped me. Okay, where's this going? He doesn't take my reaction to his theatrics well. Ignoring him, I walk outside and start down the steps. It doesn't take too long for him to catch up with me again. I wonder if he wants money or to rant about another conspiracy. Maybe both. Got a bone to pick with you. Uh-huh. It's about that blondie. You know who I'm talking about. Conspiracy it is. For a moment I contemplate feigning ignorance, but realize this will go quicker if I just let him get it all out. Lilly, the one from your class? You're on first name terms with her? He looks positively shocked at this development. Did he not expect me to be able to answer? He gathers himself and coughs into his fist, dramatically like everyone. Eventually, I don't know, whatever. Well, never mind that. I'm here to warn you, you know, man to man. Worry about what? Lilly? Yeah, you don't know her, man. It's mostly true. I've only known her and Hanako for less than 2 weeks, and even then we've just been exchanging medical chatter about school while we eat lunch. I'm pretty sure you don't either. That's not the point. You're the one spending inordinate amounts of time with her. It distresses me that someone like Kenji, who's probably as far out of the loop as one could possibly get, knows about such a trivial fact as who I choose to befriend. Then again, I am a transfer student, and she's not only the representative of their class, but also a tall blonde. Maybe I should appreciate this ranting as a warning that the rumor mill exists in this school, and that I'm firmly within it. It's just lunch, nothing special. Look, man, under the bridge. See this bridge? You're under it. A man's gotta do what a man's gotta do to get intel. I just want to make sure you don't end up too far under the bridge. You're losing me, Kenji. That's okay. Lots of people get lost. That's why I'm here to help. Okay? Just pick up around her, okay? She looks all harmless on the outside, but I've heard shit. Bad shit. You know the student counselor, right? He seems to involuntarily shudder as he says the words. Putting him and Chizune together in a room is an amusing mental exercise. I wonder if they'd met. Yeah, Chizune and Misha are in my class. They seem to have dodged the draft, though. Good man, good man. But this blondie, she was there in the student council, right? Damn, there? I see. And she's not there now. Seriously, think about it. Something must have gone down. I stopped walking for a moment, giving the idea more thought than I probably should. It would explain that fight the two had, at least in part. Wait, no, not really. Even leaving the student council would need a catalyst. In the end, it doesn't explain much at all, other than the fact that their feud goes back some way. I guess you have a point. I'm not seeing how that really affects me, though. Okay, now field this one. Lilly's foreign, obviously. Obviously. Now, what nationality is she? I've been about to give the answer, but realize that I have done. In fact, I've given the matter very little thought. Given that she has no accent and acts perfectly Japanese, I suppose it never really seemed important. Now that he mentions it, though, I am rather curious. To be honest, I don't know. Maybe English? They like tea. I probably shouldn't resort to stereotypes, but that's the only lead I have. You're not thinking. Luckily, you have me here to think for you. Gee, thanks. He brushes off the quip effortlessly. Now answer me this. Who has lots of social power, is filthy, stinking rich, you know, blondes are all rich, right? Has a long history of disputes and used to belong to a much larger organization, Roman Catholic Church? Well, okay, there's that. But there's also the Mafia. Come on, rich, foreign. There's no way she doesn't have connection to them. I have reason to doubt the logic of his deductions, but he shows no sign of stopping. So do you know where I think she's from? Italy? Mainland Italy's small time, dude. She has to be from Sicily. All those mafioso types come from there. Wait, no, Russia. Damn, this could be bad. The mafia there is serious business, man. Ex-KGB everywhere, pro-militaries, hardcore smuggling, and wait, stop. Just slow down a sec. What are you trying to get at here? You don't know what she'll do, man. I won't get in your way. Agents don't operate like that. But I just want you to be careful. When the time comes, we'll need all the help we can get. I don't want to lose you, comrade. Well, at least he's concerned for me, kinda. I wave goodbye to him as we separate out to our respective classes, but I'm not sure that he sees the gesture. Piling my books into my bag, I catch a glimpse of the library books I'd borrowed last week. I might as well return them, considering they took all of the 2 days to finish. I briefly consider inviting Hanako along to the library, but she's already gone. It'll probably be better for my studying if I'm alone anyway. With a quick stretch and a wave to a couple of classmates who give the same to me, I make my way out of the classroom. As I open my bag and shove the books through the return slots in the front counter, I notice a strange person behind the desk. Old and graying, she must be Yuko's replacement when she's working at the cafe. I begin looking for a free table, a task made somewhat difficult considering that, despite there not being many students in here, they're all sitting at their own tables. Noticing a familiar head of hair, I walk over to one near the braille section. Oh, silly. It's hard to tell whether Lily's concentrating hard or not, her placid expression holding perfectly still as her fingers slide across the dot-filled pages of her book. Hi, mind if I sit here? Oh, no problem at all. She trails off, evidently still focused on her business at hand. Ah, Hisao. There we go. She gives a nod of greeting as I sit opposite her at the table. Pluck a chemistry textbook out of my bag and quickly thumb to the chapter we're covering in class. For a while, we sit there and read, each in our own way. Seeing her reminds me of what Kenji said this morning, though. That and the fact that I've never seen someone read in Braille before makes me keep throwing glances at her. I kind of feel guilty about it, given that she has no way to realize I'm doing so I decide to just ask her about it. Her lineage isn't exactly a state secret, after all, and there is another thing I've only just noticed from her movements. Hey Lily, mind if I ask you a question? Not at all. Is anything wrong? I was just wondering. You're at least part foreign, right? She gives a small giggle before settling down her book. You've always been amused at how squeamish people are about that. Akira's mentioned how much she and I look different from most others before. The details are a bit complicated, but I'm half Japanese, half Scottish. Oh, she's Scottish! Ah, she's part ginger shadow. Interesting. Scottish. Ah, interesting. Scottish. That was not exactly my first... It wasn't mine either. It takes some effort to not blurt it out loud. I try to conjure images of the places in mind. I think as far as the UK goes, Scotland isn't bad to live in, but I'm not really sure. My first guess of England was surprisingly close, at least geographically. That does leave another question, though. But you have no accent. That's where details begin. I was born and raised in Japan, despite my mother being foreign. Ah, I get it. Hold on, if she moved to the dorms simply due to Akira working longer hours, so they don't live near the school? She gives a small sigh, as if she didn't expect me to go any deeper. Was her previous frankness just a front? Not exactly. It's been a long time since we've actually met. I feel like I'm not getting the whole story, but I don't really want to go unduly prying into her situation. Her about face shows how she feels kind of awkward about it. So do you speak much English? To be honest, I don't know that much about Scotland, but at least I know that's the main language there. It takes her a moment to collect herself, appreciating the change in topic. That's right, my family mostly used Japanese around the house when I was young, but they made sure Akira and I knew our Scottish side just as well. I'm fluent in the language, but I'm also studying it in school, to keep my skills up and to have the qualifications on paper mainly. So you're bilingual. That's pretty impressive. I wouldn't go that far. Having parents who can speak the language is a large advantage, and English books in Braille aren't too hard to buy or import, with Yuko's help at least. There's a relatively high demand for local English teachers here anyway, which also helps give me some motivation to learn it as well. Demand for English teachers? For a moment, I wonder why she brought this up. You planning to be an English teacher? She gives an enthusiastic nod. Must be nice having such a definite future in mind. I've never really given much thought to mine, so I'm kind of envious. What's wrong? It's just, I could see you as a teacher pretty easily. It suits you. For a moment she's speechless. She lowers her face a little and lets out a nervous giggle. Something like I've never seen her do before. With Lily's role as her class representative and her dependable nature, teaching does seem to be a line of work fitting for her personality. Sorry, that was probably a little much. It is true, though. Moving her hand in front of her face dismissively, she quickly recovers. It's not that, it's just that only one person's ever said that to me before. A short, somewhat awkward silence follows the discussion. Without knowing it, I ended up steering into a troublesome topic again. I should try to cheer up a little. It was me who went and got her brooding, after all. Want to go grab lunch at the cafeteria after this? It might perk her up a bit, or at least take her mind off her apparently complicated family situation. Going by her smile, it seems to have the intended effect. I appreciate the thought, but the food there... quite a quick redirection of the conversation. She does have a point, though. The food isn't that great. Maybe the Shanghai? We could ask Hanako if she wants to come as well. Ah, what is it? I almost forgot until you reminded me. Hanako's birthday is coming up soon, and I was going to go shopping in the city for a present tomorrow. If that's an invitation, I'd be happy to accompany you. The ability to get more used to the layout of the city would probably be a good thing. I have barely set foot in there, so I'd be hopelessly lost by myself. She gives a nod, signaling that she's happily approves of this plan for Sunday. We've evidently get back to our books, though before I begin reading again, I steal one last glance at her. Maybe I've been thinking of my situation too much. After all, everybody here would have their own unique circumstances. The chance to get outside and clear my head will probably do me good. Bam! And you get another one going. 2 in 1 episode, ladies and gentlemen. 2 in 1 episode. Bored of standing in place and watching the television at a shop window, I pulled myself away from the tech. Damn, it's loud here. I pulled myself away. Ah, it's like New York all over again. It's like going into Manhattan. It's terrible. I pulled myself away from the tacky display with little effort. After living at Yamaku, the city seems like an entirely different world. No writing on the halls, calm and orderly conduct is to be used at all times in the classrooms. Students are to exit rooms after checking both directions for oncomers. Elevators are reserved for movement-impaired students, single file and stairs. Compared to such strict, almost regimental standards, the city's shopping arcade might as well be a strange country. While the school may have its fair share of hustle and bustle during the festival, the outside world is much different. It's strange, having lived in a metropolitan city before my accident, this should feel more natural than Yamaku and the surrounding town ever could. Yet it feels foreign, somehow. The elevator walkways and tall buildings, each adorned with billboards taller than any 3 people, don't do anything to distract me from the passing crowd's reactions. Lilly keeps one hand on my shoulder, the other holding her cane which taps the ground, with a metronome-like steadiness. Looking over to her, that neutral smile of hers still holds. Having only seen her in school uniform, I'd not have recognized her as she sat on a bench waiting for me to come, if not for her cane propped up against it and her distinctive hair. I can't tell whether they're glancing at her due to her height, her foreign looks, her obvious blindness, or all 3. Not that any of those would make the situation any less comfortable than it is. Do you have any ideas of where to look first, Hisao? Your soft voice breaks me out of my line of thought. I can't imagine that she's failing to notice the attention she garners, but she seems so unfazed by it. I get the feeling she's the type to enjoy walking outside, so she might be used to it by now. Not really. This is my first time in this city, so I've got no idea where to go. She furrows her brow in thought, planning a route for us to take, and, come to think of it, a way to communicate it. Something I'd noticed in the time I've been with her is how, when deep in thought, she lacks close to any form of body language to show it. Her expression may change, but not a hint of movement shows. She seems to have little in the way of sweeping physical gestures in general, though, so I've assumed it's part of her reserved nature. Is there a large electronics store near here? I take a quick look around, mostly finding clothing stores. In a few seconds I notice a store with a bright blue sign some distance away that fits her description. Yep, it's just a bit ahead of us. Should we go in that direction? Thankfully it's just the information she needed. With a nod we start off and head towards Lilly's unknown destination, landmarks being our guide. Food. Here you go. 1 vanilla, 1 chocolate. Yeah, ice cream. I hand the money over the counter and take the cones to the railing that Lily's sitting on. I can't believe I let her trick me like this. She not only led me to an ice cream stall, but also got me to buy her some. At least she gave me the money for hers. Sure enough, she patiently waiting where I'd left her. I guess she was planning on making the day an event rather than a simple shopping trip. She looks super happy about this ice cream. Alright, I'm going to end the for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll give her ice cream next episode. If you guys have enjoyed, make sure to like button down below. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe as well for more Katawa Shoujo and everything else I do on this channel. It's a mix of just about everything, so there's always variety here. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Bitch42, and I'll see you all in another video.